We put a lot of value on history here in Maine, partly because we can see it all around us in old houses and other buildings, some built before the Revolutionary War.
Preserving those buildings can be a lot of work and a lot of expense. 207's Don Kerrigan is here with the story of one building in particular with a lot of friends. Hey, Don.
It does indeed. This one is a church, and it sure has a lot of friends. You know, church steeples are often the first glimpse we get of a lot of cities and towns as we approach them, and that means this one church decided that it wanted to make absolutely sure the steeple stayed right where it is. As gently as a big machine will allow, the old steeple on the head-tide church comes back together. So what have you done?
We've built the spire right now. We got the railings back at my house. So when we're complete with that, which should be end of next week, I'm hoping, we'll come back with a smaller lift and install the railings and paint everything that we got up there.
Steeplejack Andrew Wilcox was called in 2 years ago after some of the local volunteers who look after the church got a phone call.
And she said, "Did you know there's a hole in the spire?" So then we hired...
And your answer was no.
No.
So once again, they mobilized to repair this historic building. There hasn't been a congregation in the church for years. It's now owned by the town of Alna and is, quite simply, loved.
It's such an iconic part of our viewscape here in Alna.
Iconic may be the word. The church has been part of this landscape since 1838, a time when the little village on the Sheepscut River was growing. Mills were being built and houses. You could see quite a distance back then. The church, with its distinctive steeple and spire, was on postcards in the 1950s. Tourists would stop to see it. Over time, the land around the church has grown up with trees. It's a lot harder to see than it once was. But the head-tide church has many people who know it's here. So when the rot was revealed in the spire, they took action.
The whole committee decided there was no decision really to make. We just had to do it.
Meaning money to be raised, about $80,000 for everything. But the head-tide church has had to do this before. In 1962, the church was hit by lightning. The original steeple destroyed.
Burned a major portion of the roof, and the Paul Revere bell fell and broke into pieces.
But they rebuilt. And in the years since, volunteers and donors have painted the outside and refurbished the inside. Other than the pictures on the walls, it has changed little in 186 years. So, fundraising for the new spire? Done.
Many people have been married here. There have been a lot of weddings over the years, and some of those people were supporters when we were raising funds.
They got help from the Maine Steeple Fund and from a variety of other donors and from the town. Brett Donham, who lives just down the hill, shared that story.
We asked for a certain amount of money on the town meeting floor, and somebody stood up and said, "I propose we increase the amount." Could have knocked me over with a feather.
Why? Well, it's their history.
If you look around in some of the pews, you can find carvings, you can find people's names penciled in, and there are all of the historic pictures around, and you can sit here and imagine what it must have been like to walk up the hill and come to a meeting or a service here.
All over Maine, of course, there are towns with old churches that are also parts of their local landscape, and that means work for Andy Wilcox.
Like if they keep the paint on it, that's usually a pretty good sign that they're, it's in good shape.
But those churches also need to be used.
Old buildings, if they're left empty, are going to die, and we need to find new uses, expose them to new people, And they need to be living buildings, not dead buildings.
This one seems secure.
Oh, this is just joyful.
It is joyful. That's the perfect word.
And for the people who live in this village by the river, their old church may have become a symbol of faith in themselves. And interestingly enough, that head-tide church also became something of a magnet for artists. Marston Hartley, back in the 1930s, a noted artist. More recently, Jamie Wyeth painted that church. This is his painting. Before him, his father, Andrew Wyeth, painted that same church. So it's had an allure in the mid-coast of Maine for a long time. That church is located in Alna, off Route 218, a pretty little village, pretty little drive. And check their Facebook page. You can go and check it out on a weekend.
It's got more than its share of history.
Yeah, I think so. And publicity.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Don.